How you doing, everybody? My name is Dr. Sammy BAYA. Please welcome back to my YouTube channel. The narcissist will lose everything for what they did to you. The narcissist's path is often paved with deceit, manipulation, and a deep sense of self-importance. For a while, they may appear to have everything under control, projecting an image of success, charm, and superiority. However, their actions, rooted in a need to dominate, deceive, and exploit others, often lead to a destructive downfall. The consequences of their behavior, particularly towards those they have harmed, inevitably catches up with them. The narcissists will lose everything they hold dear, not because of external factors, but because of the toxicity they bring into their relationships, their inability to take responsibility, and their disregard for the well-being of others. The narcissist may have built a facade of success and control, manipulating those around them into believing that they are untouchable. They often thrive on creating chaos and drama, feeding off the reactions of those who get swept up in their web of lies. For a while, they might have people around them who are either too afraid or too blinded by their charm to see the truth. But eventually, the narcissist's behavior becomes too evident for anyone to ignore. The people they have used, the people they've hurt and exploited will eventually turn away. And when those close relationships vanish, the narcissist's carefully constructed world begins to crumble. The narcissist's need for validation, admiration, and power over others often leads them to destroy everything in their path. They might sabotage relationships, careers, or personal reputations to maintain their sense of superiority. What they don't realize is that this self-centered pursuit of ego-driven desires inevitably leads to their own destruction. People start seeing through their false narratives and toxic behaviors, and as the narcissist alienates everyone around them, they lose the very things they were so desperate to keep. When the narcissist targets you, they often exploit your kindness, vulnerability, and trust. They may manipulate you emotionally, making you feel insignificant, while simultaneously convincing you that you cannot live without them. Over time, their toxic behavior wears you down. You might eventually break free, gaining clarity about how destructive they truly are. The narcissist will find that their manipulation and abuse have isolated them, leaving them with no one to return to. Those they once relied on for their sense of power and validation will abandon them. The narcissist's ego will not allow them to take accountability for their actions. Instead, they will blame everyone else for their problems, refusing to acknowledge the damage they've caused. When things go wrong in their life, whether it's the loss of a job, a failed relationship, or a public scandal, they will cast blame on external factors. Yet in reality, these are simply the consequences of their own actions, built on a foundation of deceit, manipulation, and a lack of empathy for others. They will see everyone else as the enemy, never recognizing that their downfall was a direct result of their behavior. As time goes on, the narcissist's mask starts to crack. People who were once fooled by their charm and grandeur begin to realize that the narcissist is nothing more than an empty shell, relying on others to feed their fragile ego. Their lies catch up with them, and the truth comes to light. The friends they alienated, the family members they betrayed, and the colleagues they undermined will no longer tolerate their toxic behavior. The narcissist may try to salvage their relationships, but the damage is done. They have burned too many bridges to rebuild. In their desperation, the narcissist may attempt to manipulate the situation by playing the victim or using guilt to try and control others. They may reach out to former partners or friends, pretending to have changed, but their core behavior remains the same. They still refuse to take responsibility for the pain they caused, instead focusing on maintaining control over others. Now, these last-ditch efforts, however, will only make their behavior more transparent, revealing their true nature. Those who have experienced their manipulations before will not fall for their trick again. The narcissist may try to salvage their public image, but this will only delay the inevitable. People will start to recognize their patterns of behavior. The narcissist's lies, manipulations, and disregard for others will eventually catch up to them in the public eye. They may lose their career, their social standing, and their reputation. Their attempts to maintain the image of the perfect individual will be exposed as hollow, and their public downfall will be a reflection of the personal chaos they have created. This loss of status will leave them isolated and struggling to maintain the power they once held. Without the validation they once received, the narcissist becomes lost in a world they can no longer control. Their charm no longer works, their manipulation no longer effective, and their lies are revealed for what they are. The people who once admired them see through the veneer of their personality, recognizing them as self-centered and toxic. In the absence of others to feed their ego, the narcissist begins to unravel. The internal emptiness becomes more apparent as they lose their grip on the world around them. The narcissist's actions have long-lasting consequences, not just for those they directly harm, but for themselves as well. The ability to deceive, manipulate, and control others may have worked for a time, but it is always a temporary solution. Eventually, their actions catch up with them. They may find themselves alone, their relationships shattered, their reputation destroyed, and their world in ruins. The price they pay for their lack of empathy and their self-centered pursuit of validation is steep, and the consequences are often irreversible. What the narcissist doesn't understand is that while they may have tried to hurt you, it is them who will suffer the most. Their inability to form genuine healthy relationships, their refusal to acknowledge their wrongdoings, and their relentless need to dominate others ultimately lead to their undoing. The very thing they thought would give them power, control over others, ends up isolating them in the end. They may try to salvage their reputation or return to their old ways, but the damage they have done to themselves is permanent. In the end, the narcissist will be left with nothing. No one to manipulate, no one to control, and no one to feed their fragile ego. The people they have hurt will move on, healed from the damage they caused. The narcissist, however, will be left to face the consequences of their own actions. They may try to start anew, but without the ability to genuinely connect with others or take accountability, their efforts will always fall short. The emptiness that once drove them to manipulate others will only deepen as they face a life devoid of the relationships and support they once took for granted. The narcissist's downfall is inevitable, not because of external forces, but because of their own destructive choices. Their inability to love, to empathize, and to take responsibility for their actions will lead them to lose everything they hold dear. While they may have caused pain and suffering in others' lives, in the end, it is the narcissist who pays the highest price, a life alone, surrounded by the ruins of their own making. The very thing they believed would give them power, control over others, ultimately leads to their complete isolation and loss. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you've learned a thing or two. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not done so. Make sure the notification bell is on. Thank you.